All right, hey guys, my name is Ojis, and my partner here is Shri. And so today we're both the co-founders of an organization called Hackathon for Kids. And Hackathon for Kids is a nonprofit organization that truly believes that every kid should have the opportunity to code from a young age, and it's a really important part for being successful when you're older. So we essentially provide free classes teaching Java, and especially due to the COVID-19 situation, no matter where you are, we provide online classes. So if you want to check us out at hackathonforkids.com, go ahead, check it out. We have a general interest form and you can just click it and sign up, and we'll follow up with more details afterward. So essentially, the way our program really works is we're teaching Java, and there's going to be a beginner course, an intermediate course, and an advanced course. So for all of those, you can get one-on-one or class sessions for those as well. But we'll also be posting a shortened version and a more concentrated version online as well. So today's the first day of the beginner class. So, what is programming? So, programming is essentially talking to computers the same way you talk to another person, but the language that you're using is going to be the programming language that you're using. So, we do this through an IDE, which is essentially a translator. So, you can think about it for like Google Translate, and it just changes that programming language into a language that your computer can understand. So writing a program is really easy or really similar to talking actually. So if things are not in the right order and there's a single mistake, you can make the whole program go wrong. So like it's similar to saying like I run will, but in actuality you have to say I will run. So one of the biggest roadblocks that we get when we're teaching younger kids is, I'm too young to learn programming. And, for this, we can look at a lot of the successful people that we see today. And first, we can look at Bill Gates, and he had his first computer at the age of 13. And, this may seem, like, oh, that's another 4 years for me or 2 years for me. But in reality, at Bill Gates' time, computers was something that was really new. So at your age, it's not that uncommon for you guys to be learning and understanding programming language. And another example of this is Mark Zuckerberg. He actually had his first computer in sixth grade, which is not too far off from where most of you guys are right now. So, one of the most important things when we're programming is something called the programming process. So, this is some steps that you should run through before you actually go ahead and write a program. And this is really similar to something that you'll do when you go ahead and do anything in your life. So, first you have to define the purpose. So, if I want to go to the convenience store, I have to define my purpose as, I have to go get 5 bananas, 3 eggs, etc., etc. And next, you have to create an algorithm or a pseudocode. So this is kind of just like how you're going to be doing what you're going to be doing. So, for example, when you're going to the convenience store, you have to know which route and which directions you're going to be taking to get to the convenience store. The third is going to be converting all of that pseudocode, which is in human language, to programming code. After that, you can compile this in your IDE, which is basically just running it through the IDE to convert it to the programming language. And if the IDE does not understand what you're saying, it's going to give you errors. So you will go into a process called debugging, where you keep on looking at the errors until there are none left and your code works smoothly.
All right, so now at this point, we'll be going over the most basic program that you can write for any language, and this is known as a Hello World program. So first up, what we need is an IDE, as mentioned earlier. So I would recommend downloading IntelliJ IDE. You simply just type in IntelliJ IDE online, and you can just go to the download section. And here, download the free and open source community edition. Now, if you have any questions pertaining to the downloading process, we have videos on our website demonstrating how to do it in the correct and efficient manner. But once you've done that, you can open up IntelliJ, and the first thing you want to do is create a new project. Now, once you do that, make sure at the top left it's highlighted onto Java, and then click Next. Click Next again. And for the project name, type in First Project. Now, once you do that, We'll create the first project. And on the left-hand side, you'll see a bunch of words and folders and whatnot. Open up this first folder that says first project and right-click SRC. This stands for your source code. This is basically where all your Java classes are going to be. So once you right-click it, you highlight onto new and then left-click Java class. Once you get here, type in hello world. And then once you do that, you'll be prompted to the hello world class. Now once we do this, we want to type in the main method signature. So for now, don't be too worried about like how complex it looks. Just follow along and we'll be explaining more about this on day 3. So public static void main, then in parentheses string arguments. Then inside of this, we're going to do world. Now once we do this, you right click and click on to run. Now at the bottom it's compiling and it's running it. And you can see the whole process down here highlighted. And at the bottom here, you can see it says hello world. So now you've successfully written your very first hello world program.
All right, so now moving on to data types. So data types is something that, you know, we'll get more into later, and especially when we get into variables and understanding variables. But for now, it's really important that you just memorize what we're talking about. So when we get into that, it can really come in handy. So the first data type is what we call a boolean, and a boolean can only be two things. It can either be true or false, and this can be like visualized with this light switch where it can either be on and off, but it can either be true or false. So another one of these data types is a char. So a char is like a representation of basically a character or a single character. And also keep in mind here that each of these data types has a size. So while we're individually programming, this is not a big deal. We don't really care about how big or small a data type is. But when you get into the real world and you start programming on larger projects, it becomes something that's vastly more important. The next one is an int, and this is all of the whole numbers that are negative to positive, and it also includes 0. So if you look at the little picture on the right, -3, -2, -1, all the way to negative infinity, including 0 from 1, 2, 3, all the way to positive infinity. So the second is a double. So a double is a decimal, but it's only a decimal up to one place. And as it was before, as long as you keep that one single place, it's considered a double. So these are just a chart of the data types. It's easier for you to understand here. You can take a picture of this, and it's easier for you to, when you're memorizing, to look at this and kind of just cover the description and tell yourself what it is afterwards. So next is Shri with the rest of the presentation.
Yeah, sure. So one question we can ask ourselves is, can you assign a value outside the range of a given variable to the initial variable? So what that means is, let's say we have a integer, right? And we know that the range goes all the way up till this really big number right here. 2, 1, 4, 7, 4, 8, 3, 6, 4, 7. So what if the number that we decide to plug in into the variable is 2, 1, 4, 7, 4, 8, 3, 6, 4, 8? Well, that's too big for the range of values given for an integer, right? So what's going to happen? Well, it'll basically just explode. It's just not possible. You can't assign a number that's greater than the range of values given to a particular variable. So remember that and keep that in mind when you have really big numbers. You want to make sure that you're using the right data type and you're assigning the right data type and right numbers for those variables. So some of the basic operators are addition, subtraction, division, multiplication. This little percentage sign here is modulus. We will be going more into it later on in this course, but just so you know, for now, it's the remainder operator. So if you have 6 modulus 2, then it would return a 0 because the remainder of 6 divided by 2 is 0. The next one is equals, and then the double equals. We'll also be going more into that because it's a bit complex for now. But yeah, so look forward to that. And thank you. So that's pretty much it for day one. We'll be coming up. Or wait, hold up. Okay, we can cut this part out, right?
Yeah.
All right, and then let's just do the final closing part.
Okay. Make sure to save it, and then you have to cut at the end.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So I'll just do the final part. Thank you so much for watching day one, and you can see our other videos in this course on our YouTube channel. There's day two, day three, day four, and day five. So we hope you like coding so far. Uh, have fun.